Dari mana? Itu. Nós não vamos uma do contrato para assim.
Hello, greetings to everyone. Welcome to the 23rd Spiti World Zoom meeting. I want to thank you all for participating in our monthly Spiti World meeting once more. I hope you enjoy this meeting as all the others that have passed. And I want to introduce you today to my colleague Angeliki, who will be from now on with me as a host, welcoming you every month in our Spiti World meetings.
Thank you, Athey. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 23rd Spiti World Zoom meeting. I'm glad to see you all here today. Before we begin, I want to remind you that during the meeting, you have to keep your microphones muted and your cameras on so that we can see each other. At the end of each presentation and at the end of the meeting, you will have time to make questions and discuss whatever you want. I hope you will enjoy the meeting. And now let's begin with a small greeting from the General Manager of Spiti World, Ms. Kalinka Zerva. Hello, Kalinka.
Hello, good afternoon to all. Thank you, and also from my side for being with us on our new Zoom meeting, which we are organizing every month. We started together with pandemic, and we are keeping alive as the pandemic is going on. Also, our meetings are going on. We are trying to educate ourselves and to stay alive, keep in contact with our colleagues from all around the world, and show that we love this and we will fight for this as much as we can. I would like to tell you that last week I was in Madrid at Fitur exhibition, and the feedback generally was very, very positive because people needed these meetings face to face in order to understand what is the general feeling and to be again connected in person. Zoom meetings are okay, we are corresponding, but it's not the same. It is always different when you have a person in front of you and can exchange things. And I'm very happy that some of my colleagues whom I met in Madrid are also here with us today. Hello, Filipe. Hello, Inanc. It will be my pleasure. It will be my pleasure to have their presentation today. They will teach us about the places they are experts. So let's not keep more time on conversations and leave our colleagues to give their approach to whatever they have a subject today to talk.
Thank you, Kalinka. And now let's see what happened the previous month to the world of tourism, because Mr. Kostas Lapas will tell us some of the latest news from the travel industry.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very
Okay.
well.
It's good to see
Welcome.
everyone here. As you can understand, the travel industry moves according to the pandemic move. If the pandemic gets better, the travel industry gets better. So the news are according to what the pandemic is, how the pandemic is behaving. Let's start with the first, with the 10 most important news for the previous month. First of all, the foreign travel passengers arrival in Greece skyrocketed in the month of November by 525% compared to November 2020. Number two, Greece is among the top 5 overseas destinations that UK travelers are planning to visit in 2022, according to a survey released by the British travel agents by APTA. TripAdvisor, a very reliable source, announced that Crete Island is in second place in the European Union and 5th place globally for the 2022 most popular destinations. MSC Cruises elects Piraeus Harbor in Greece as home port for its leadership MSC Lyrica for summer 2022. As I told you last month, NCL, Norwegian Caribbean Lines, has elected also to have Piraeus as a home port, which is a very good news. Vaccinated travelers to England and Scotland will no longer require a COVID-19 test to enter. That will boost travel. JetBlue Airlines is having a big winter sale of $29 per person throughout the US and the Caribbean. As you can understand, all the North Americans who go into the Caribbean for $29. Crystal Cruises has suspended operations until the spring. Also, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian Cruises have canceled cruises at this moment due to the Omicron and Omicron 2 variant. This is what I was telling you. As the variants are moving and getting worse, the industry is getting worse. Airports, airlines, and hospitality industry are in a race to recruit and train pilots, crew, ground staff, as the pandemic has affected the industry employment. A lot of industry employees have found new jobs. Some of them were, when sick, they lost their jobs or they left their jobs, and now the industry is looking for new people. Denmark is the first country in Europe to lift all restrictions regarding the pandemic protocols. Morocco and Philippines are opening to tourism in the month of February. Also other countries as Holland, Finland, Sweden, England, France have lifted most of their travel restrictions, which is very promising for the future. And last, TripAdvisor again has announced the top 10 most popular destinations for 2022, which are number 1, Dubai, 2, London, 3, Cancun in Mexico, Bali in Indonesia, Crete in Greece, Rome, Cabo San Lucas in Mexico, Istanbul, Paris, and Hurghada in Egypt. Those were the most important news for the month of January. Thank you very much for listening to me, and wish you all to have a nice day and nice month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lapas. Let's now continue with the latest news of COVID-19 from Mr. Nikos Yakoumaitis. Welcome, Mr. Iacometis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nicholas
Good evening.
Iacometis, and this is the COVID-19 pandemic report as delivered to you by Spiti World. As February enters, we are still experiencing a massive surge of COVID-19 cases due to the Omicron variant. Many countries have reported record daily COVID-19 caseloads over recent days. For example, Russia's daily confirmed COVID-19 cases exceeded 100,000 for the first time on Saturday, with 113,000 new cases reported. Ukraine also reported a record confirmed daily case, and in Turkey, approximately 95,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported on Saturday, the country's highest confirmed daily figure of the pandemic. Omicron continues to sweep the world, but cases seem to have peaked in other countries, which gives the World Health Organization hope that the worst of this latest wave of COVID-19 is over. Yet, even though in general cases have started to subside, experts are clear that there will be another surge in the future, mainly due to the fact that we are failing to vaccinate the Southern Hemisphere in low and middle income countries, and predict that this is where we are most vulnerable. Denmark will on Tuesday become the first European Union country to lift all of its COVID restrictions, despite record numbers of cases, relying on its high vaccination rate to cope with the milder Omicron variant. More than 60% of Danes have received a third dose 1 month ahead of health authorities' schedule, compared to an EU average of just under 45%. After first attempt at lifting all its restrictions between September and November, the Scandinavian country is once again ditching its face masks, COVID passes, and limited opening hours for bars and restaurants. Only a few restrictions remain in place at the country's borders for unvaccinated travelers arriving from non-Schengen countries. In other news around the world, Austria will be the first European Union country to impose vaccination on all over 14-year-olds and above on Friday, with those breaching the rules facing a €600 fine. Ecuador became the first country in the world to make COVID-19 vaccinations mandatory in December, including for children over 5, and 2 authoritarian states in Central Asia, Tajikistan and Turkmenistan, had already made them obligatory for adults over 18 years old in July. Yet Austria will be the first in Europe, and questions arise how many countries will follow their example. Germany is debating a draft law on compulsory vaccination pushed by the new Social Democrat Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Several European countries concentrate on the elderly, who are more likely to get severely ill from the virus, and people in certain jobs have become increasingly subject to vaccine requirements. Moreover, more and more countries are demanding that people show vaccination passes or certificates to travel or enter enclosed public places. For example, in France, a vaccine pass will soon be required, with a full course of vaccination needed to enjoy intercity train travel, attend cultural events, or eat out. A recent test or proof of recovery will no longer be valid. Some countries, like New Zealand or Australia, reserve entry through the territory to vaccinated people, as tennis world #1 Novak Djokovic found to his cost. That's it from me. Thank you for your attention. Stay safe and stay well.
And now I want to welcome again our main speaker for today, Professor Dimitrios Buhalis, who is here with us. I'm very happy you're here with us, Professor.
Kalispera, hello, good evening.
Welcome.
Welcome. You have 20 minutes to inform us about the impact of COVID-19 and the recovery of global travel industry. And people will have at the end the time to ask you questions about this subject or whatever they need to know from you. So the speech is yours, Professor.
You don't really need 20 minutes to say that it's a catastrophe beyond belief. And obviously a lot of travel agents are facing major impacts around the world. A lot of hoteliers are facing really difficult situations. But when I talked to hoteliers and travel agents, I said, thank goodness you're not an airline. Huh? because most of the airlines around the world have gone bankrupt and they're just trying to keep themselves floating around. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to go through some slides on a presentation. What do you prefer? I'm happy to take questions. What is that you prefer?
If you have this PowerPoint presentation, of course, we would like to have something together with your speech. And of course, there will be some questions which will be raised according to what you will tell us. So if you want
let me share some thoughts on a presentation, because I'm going to take you to some nice places. But
yo, fuck me and fuck everyone here. This fuck you, you fat fucking ugly son of a bitch, you ugly stupid motherfucker, son of a bitch, you dumb fuck. Fuck this mean and everyone here. Yeah, fuck you, turkey, yummy, fuck me, daddy, fuck me.
Okay, we are hacked.
Fuck you, you fat ugly son of a bitch.
If you can find the person who is doing
I think
that.
I did. I think I found.
Okay. I haven't had a hacked Zoom for a while. In the beginning, it was always like that. After that, we're kind of we're safe. Let's see if can you see my and I think that you can do then. Hold on a second.
For us, it was the first time that somebody hacked our. That's why we didn't understand it at the beginning. What is happening?
When I was teaching last year on Zoom, it was much more graphic than this, and it was quite difficult to explain to students from all over the world what was happening and that we were hacked. Now we are kind of okay. We've seen it all before, right? And at least we didn't have pixels this time, which is better. Now, okay, for those of you who do not know me, and I guess most of you do not know me, I'm normally professor in Bournemouth University in England, and I've spent about 40 years in tourism doing all kinds of jobs, primarily in hospitality, but also working with the World Tourism Organization and governments around different places to support tourism. And the last 4 or 5 months since September, I've been in Hong Kong, where I'm visiting professor in Hong Kong Polytechnic University, again, operating from here and helping the industry and some of the stuff that we're doing. I do also a lot of editorial work. I'm editor-in-chief of the Tourism Review, the oldest journal in tourism, that started operating in 1946, just after the Second World War. And I'm also the editor-in-chief on the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing that's going to come into a bookshop near you in August 2022. You can order already, so it can come to you directly. So back in 2019, we had tourism, and some people were talking about over-tourism. I never subscribed to the term over-tourism, but we had quite a lot of places where they were not managing tourism in the appropriate way. And life for most of us was fairly sweet. We could go to nice places and see nice things. I'm glad we have got a colleague from Indonesia. We had the International Tourism Congress in Bali, which I managed. We had wonderful kind of performances, and we were dancing in a warung in a beautiful Bali, in the Jibran Bay in Bali. In Santorini, we had places, we had a lot of people like that. Some people were calling about over-tourism, and they were saying, we need to do something about tourism because it's out of control and really difficult. In Venice, we had situations like that. And the more you are going towards Asia, you're getting to situations like that. And there were some calls for sustainability. Tourism, your luxury trip is my daily misery. And this is in tourism, it's an invasion. And of course, it's how you're looking at these things, because the industry was operating globally and we were quite happy. But of course, there were issues that we had to manage, and we had to do a much better management and planning of tourism. Then COVID comes along, and COVID It's a crisis unlike any other. I've been in tourism for 40 years. We've never seen anything like that, obviously, and I don't need to tell you that. You're all very experienced people. And we've been, I came up and I started screaming, brace, 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 beginning of 2020, because I was in Greece and my mom was in hospital, and I kind of picked up all the messages, and then I was talking to Elias Moschelos, and he was telling me what's happening from the medical point of view, and I was trying to interpret what's happening from a tourism point of view. And I remember on the 17th of February, the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization came to Greece, and I went to see him, and I said to him, Zurab, this is really serious. And everybody was saying, including Lysandros Chilidis, my good friend in Greece, that, yeah, by the summertime, everything is going to go away because the temperature is going to go up, and we'll have fun. Unfortunately, I didn't believe them, and I was start screaming, brace, brace, brace. So we've seen things like that, and we've seen all the statistics. And of course, when you see statistics, you don't really realize that it's going to hit home. And this is my sister who died on the 7th of September. She used to work for Eon Tours in Omonia. So we lost a person in tourism, and my dear sister. And of course, like any war, you have got a lot of damages and a lot of things that they are being destroyed. And you can see what was happening from January 5th, 2020 to the 5th of May, 2020. You can see how we lost all the planes from the air, and a lot of the planes that they were traveling, they were just keeping hubs. They were going empty, really, with very few people flying. I didn't fly for a year and a half, and I was doing about 200 days away from home in 2019. So you can imagine what was happening. International tourism went down 75%, and we've never had 40 very good years in tourism. We only had a 0.4% reduction during SARS in 2003. And during the economic crisis, it was minus 4%. And for the last 40 years, tourism was growing every year. And this is something that has hit everybody, really. And globally, we have a situation like that. This is a picture from Ubud in Bali, where it says, no tourists, no food. All of a sudden, when you don't have any tourism activity happening, all of a sudden, most of the activity, the economic activity, was stopped. And those of you who are familiar with Bali, most of the people left from the south tourist areas, and they went north to deal with agriculture and to be in their family homes and reduce their costs. This is in Australia, the Cairns Japukai Aboriginal Cultural Center, something that was killed during COVID. And this is Baboonis, who was doing fantastic cheese in Naxos Island. And you'll see later, I visited Naxos, and this guy was telling me that we have no tourism, we cannot sell our cheese. And the amount of trouble that this created throughout, it's phenomenal. Now, I came out quite early and I said, look, this is not something we can control. COVID is going to take its time, and we need to deal with that with humanity, solidarity, leadership, and resilience. There are 4 words that they are really very important on the way that we're going to see us through: humanity, solidarity, leadership, and resilience. When I was talking about these things, I don't know if any of you have been listening to Horizons that I did last year, or any of the other events that I was organizing. A lot of people were saying, look, we cannot do this. We cannot survive if we don't earn money, if people are not coming here. And I said, look, we don't have a lot of choice. It's not something that we can control. So you really need control. You really need to make sure that you reduce your cost, that you develop your resilience, and you need to have leadership in order to be able to have solidarity with your communities and to demonstrate humanity. And I'm very proud of the tourism industry because what we did, a lot of people in tourism, they actually did a fantastic job in supporting the health professionals who are on the first line to create defense mechanisms. I know in Greece, a lot of rent-a-car companies were offering cars to municipalities to go and deliver things around. A lot of companies in London, they offer hospitality for doctors and nurses that they didn't want to go home after working in hospitals for a long time. And this is my absolute heroes. There's a Nepalese restaurant in London called Panas Gyurta that donated 100,000 meals to people that they needed, and those people in hospitals. Absolutely critical. Okay, enough with the bad news. After a storm, there is a rainbow. Now the question is when this rainbow is going to come, and I know that everybody is looking for this question, but I don't have an answer to this. I think we are not there yet, and I think it's a matter of policy as well. Here in Hong Kong, we've got, and in China, we've got a 0 cases policy. So today they've just announced 120 cases. They've actually stopped schools. They're closing restaurants at 6 o'clock. They've closed all gyms and everything. And they're tracing every single case all the way back. If you want to come to Hong Kong right now, you need to have a special license. And if you come, you need to have 21 days of quarantine. I came in end of August. I had 3 weeks of quarantine in a hotel, and then I had 9 PCR tests in order to be able to be allowed in Hong Kong. I know that a lot of other places have had much less, and I know that there's a lot of pressure on opening up borders and doing tourism as normal. Now, before anybody asks me, there's a fine line on what is your tolerance level in terms of how many people die. So the tolerance level in Hong Kong and China is very, very low. So when I arrived here, 1st of September, there were 213 people who have died on a population of 7 million, and very high density of population. So a lot of big buildings with thousands of people in a state where 40,000 people live, like a small village in, or actually Corinthos, probably 40, 50,000 people. So you've got that people staying in the States here. So there's a question about what's your tolerance level? How many people you tolerate to die every day? And that is something that determines policy. But I think when we start looking forward, we need herd immunity, and in order to get herd immunity, we need vaccination, and we need also the people who have actually had COVID. And gradually we need smart and agile management to maximize our efficiency and to be able to go forward. So I really want you to remember that herd immunity, which is really, really critical, smartness and agility and resilience. Now, in some places, we start getting herd immunity. The UK is one, partly because they've gone through a very soft, how can I say that? Very soft management of COVID in the beginning. So a lot of people have gone through that. The vaccination is very high. And now they are going to, they're opening most of the measures, and they say, okay, we're going to move forward. But unless you have got herd immunity globally, and I'm referring to African countries, I'm referring to South American countries, I'm referring to South Asian countries, where they've not had the opportunity to actually vaccinate people. You may have variances that they're coming out and they can be spreading very quickly again. And the most disturbing news is that COVID also can be transmitted through animals. They just found some animals, some lions in Kenya. Here in Hong Kong, they found hamsters that they had COVID, and they killed about 2,000 hamsters that they arrived from Amsterdam. So there are a lot of issues still as far as this is concerned. I'll give you a little bit better pictures. This is my first vaccine. This is my second vaccine, and I was ready to travel. And of course, with the second one, I started traveling. And this is the third one, which I did in Hong Kong. And of course, as soon as I did my first two vaccines, all I wanted was Greece, and I ended up going to Naxos because you can see on the encyclopedia, I've got the Portara, the temple of God Apollo, on the cover of the encyclopedia, so I had to go to Naxos and close the project. Now, in the encyclopedia, we have 1,250 entries contributed by 1,500 people from around the world. And this is the most comprehensive kind of document that is looking to how we are managing tourism. And you'll find the introduction on this address on the academia.edu. And what it says is that tourism is a pyramid, effectively. So this is the tourism system that's very well established, where on the one side, we've got the tourist demand, on the other side, we've got the tourism supply, and we've got the intermediation here. You are intermediary, so you are there, there's technology, there's transportation, accessibility on the transit region. And when we're doing tourism, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to optimize the resources that we use towards the value we co-create for the different stakeholders. So this is what it comes in as an input into the system, and this is what comes out as the benefit to the different stakeholders. What we need to do is we need to optimize the system so it can operate to the maximum capacity. And in order to do that, we've got the pyramid that includes tourism planning, management, strategy, an analysis of the market forces, all the exogenous variables that they're determining what's happening in tourism, and then all the technology and the infrastructure that is being used in order for the system to operate. Now, I suggest that you read this, it's about 25 pages, because I think that is really, really critical in understanding what we're doing in tourism and bringing everything together. Because what you find in tourism quite often, everybody is pulling resources towards their end in order to get their own benefit, but they don't understand what other people need and how the resources need to be used in a sustainable way for everybody. So unless we do that, we're creating conflicts and we do not create the right kind of benefit. And then my next thing is going towards 2030, and 2030 is only 8 years away. And those 8 years are going to go very fast. And by 2030, we need to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And I think tourism is absolutely critical in order to achieve most of these goals, because all our activity, and especially in insular and peripheral regions and regions that they do not have a lot of administrative and economic power, they'll be absolutely depending on tourism to do things like no poverty, zero hunger, industry, innovation, infrastructure, reducing inequalities, and all of the things that we're saying on the Sustainable Development Goals. So tourism is central in the development. And if there's anything that was good out of COVID is the realization how important tourism is for individuals, for consumers, and their mental health, and also for governments. I've never seen prime ministers dealing with tourism so much in the last 40 years. Because for the first time, they discovered how critical tourism is for their economies and for their regional development. And that is global. It's not only in Greece, it's all over the place. tourism was recognized as a major agent of change and development. To reignite tourism, we really need to go back to strategies for competitiveness of destinations, and we really need to look into how can we develop competitive advantage based on differentiation, how can we enhance reputation and develop destination image, how can we nurture new business developments and business models through innovation and investment, how we can optimize resources, and how we can focus on resident benefits. Because so far, in many places around the world, we have ripped off resources from residents. And we've given them low quality jobs that we really need to redistribute the benefits of tourism in a much better way. Otherwise, we're going to have problems. We can reignite tourism because COVID has not destroyed any of the infrastructure. And we've got all our assets and our branding and our products and our experiences all locally produced and all ready to go. And we have got fantastic resources, most of the countries around the world, to actually develop these things. But now here is what I really want you to remember. We are not going backwards to 2019. We're going forwards to 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2030 eventually. I hear a lot of people in the global tourism industry and say, when can we go back to our normal life? This is not going to happen again. It is gone. We're going to go forward to a new life. And the new life is going to have a whole range of different things. So please do not look into the mirror when you're driving, because you're going to crash. Look forward and understand what the customers will need, and understand what is the industry going to look like. And one of the most critical elements of that is digitization. Because in the last 2 years, we learned how to do everything on Zoom, to meet, to discuss, to see our families, our partners, to eat together, to drink together, to do all kinds of things. We learn how to do e-banking. We learn how to do a whole range of different processes, all based on digitization. And I think this is not something that we're going to get back to. We'll find a lot of computers, we'll find a lot of robots, we'll find a lot of technology that's going to take things forward. So please look forward. Do not look into the past. Learn from the past and go forward. Do not drive by looking into the mirror. You're going to crash. We also have the end of planning and the beginning of agility. I remember that we used to do budget for 2 years in advance, and we used to do all kinds of things. And we used to be able to plan and budget for at least 1 year. Now, we've all learned in the last 2 years that the long-term planning we can do is 2 weeks. This is really scary stuff. And I'm working with a lot of the hoteliers here, that they don't know whether they'll be operating next week or in the next 2 weeks. And they were given 4 days to clear their refrigerators because they were told by that day they're not going to be able to operate for dinner. After 6 o'clock, everything will be closed. So we really need to develop our agility, and we really need to look into what can we do to maximize this agility. And to maximize agility is about smartness. And smartness about was saying creativity is about just connecting things. And you can see me back in '87 on the Aegean island in Chios, having exactly the same computer that Jobs brought out, which was my first computer, trying to connect things. And ever since then, I've been trying to connect things. Smartness is about interoperability and interconnectivity of integrated technologies to re-engineer process and data in order to produce innovative services, products, and procedures towards maximizing value for all stakeholders. the critical thing is that we are not going to operate as entities anymore. We'll operate as business ecosystems. We will work together with a lot of other people. And we need to have not only our technology working, but we need our technology to work with other people's technology. So we can all work as a network, and we need to optimize the network towards co-creating value for everybody who is in this network. I think this is the most critical benefit and most of the critical issue that we'll see in the future. We'll need to use interoperable and interconnected networks that are based on the Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything. We need sensors to collect information and beacons to send information instantly. The vast majority of the people who are traveling right now, the biggest problem is that they do not know what information they need to know and what conditions are happening. So we really need to go into the last mile and to actually take someone with us throughout the process in order to be able to support them to come through the tourism industry. We need to look into big data and data analytics, and we need to use user-generated content as enablers for co-creation and bring all the benefits together. Now, don't take me wrong, SMART is not about technology, digitization, evolution, social media, reservation. It's much more than that. It's really about the glue that brings customized, individualized, and contextualized value that being created by bringing all of those things together. I know that I'm talking a little bit theory here, but it's really about engaging all the resources in a creative way to maximize the benefits for everybody. Some places are doing it. So Bordeaux, so I'm part of the European Commission, European Capital of Smart Tourism. Bordeaux and Valencia were these years European capitals of smart tourism. And they've managed to do it by connecting the different elements, the different departments, the different providers all together to be able to address that. And the final concept I'd like to introduce to you is what's called ambient intelligence. And ambient intelligence is really bringing smart systems to everyday environments by propelling interconnectivity and interoperability through the Internet of Everything. So we're taking technical developments like artificial intelligence,
we have lost you. I think the connection is unstable, Mr. Buhalis. Can you hear us?
No, maybe not.
Can you hear us now? Mr. Buhalis? Okay,
Maybe
I think
he had bad connection.
yes, I think the connection is unstable. You can write your question, and if he connects again, we can ask the questions.
Παρακαλώ.
Okay.
Let's continue with our
yes.
program since
we
Okay,
will have the
we are
time.
moving to our next chapter then, to Mr. Filipe Romao and the presentation of the Port of Lisbon from High Sun Tourism Experience. Welcome, Mr. Romao. Thank you for being here with us today.
welcome,
Hello.
Filipe.
Yes.
Looking forward to see
How are
the
you
port
all?
of
Hello.
Lisbon.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Greetings from Portugal to everyone. Thank you,
very much.
Thank you very
Kalika, for
much.
your invitation, and everyone for being in here in this fantastic event.
You see, guys, I'm back. Technology is wonderful when it works, and then when it doesn't work, it kicks you out, right?
Yeah, okay, sorry, since you are here, yes, continue with your presentation, because we were afraid that we lost you for more because you couldn't hear us. So
No, it's,
yes, continue.
Networks are fantastic when they work, but really difficult when they don't. So basically, you've got the users in the middle, and then you've got a range of different technologies that they're supporting ambient intelligence, and they're enabling people to operate in different kind of things. And this is something that we've just published about real-time response. And real-time response is when you are looking to how smart systems are bringing interconnected intelligence and interoperable systems all together to support leadership, human, social innovation and technology towards real-time sharing of data, which create then value. And then you've got a range of different industries that they're benefiting from that. You can see the paper there, and you can see all the research that we've been doing. I'm not going to cover that. So basically, when you are looking towards 2030, we need intelligence that's going to provide, that is going to be based on inspiration, on innovation, on inclusiveness, and internationalization. So intelligence will be driving everything through agility, and we need to have inspiration, innovation, inclusiveness, and internationalization. Now, I'll leave you with my little robots that they keep following me whenever I'm going in Asia, because normally when I'm saying a lot of these things, people kind of feel it's not going to hit me, it's not going to be near me for a while. But in fact, what you see is that robots are everywhere. This called Rice, and it's in a shopping mall here that keeps coming around, disinfecting everything. And this is another robot, Roboteca, that's creating iced tea for you and gelato. And basically, I don't know if you can hear this. Once it is serving you, tea. It does a little dance to show how it appreciates the fact that you have bought a tea from them. Now, I keep talking about technology, but this is probably the smartest thing I've ever received. That was in Hangzhou in China some years back. That says, "Dear Professor Buhalis, that you want to speak tomorrow in order to better protect your throat, I specially prepared for you a candy." So my housekeeper understood why I was there, what I was doing, and she gave me a candy to protect my throat. This is the level of care that my mother would have done. And this has nothing to do with technology, but the smartest thing that has ever happened to me. And some of the things that we're doing here in Hotel Icon is teaching people how to care and how to use smartness in customer care. So that was it. Thank you very much. I hope that I didn't go over time. And I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much. So if someone has a question, you can raise your hand or write it in the chat. No questions? Okay, we have a message, not a question. Love the example with Candice. Great customer care. It's true. It was very caring and useful, especially for you that you have to prepare a lot of speeches and you talk in the universities and all this.
I think it's really important to see how we can use high tech and high touch. A lot of people in the past, they'll say, no, I'm not using technology because I'm doing high touch. And I think it's quite wrong. We really need high tech to do high touch. You need to understand what your customer is doing, where they're coming from, when they'll arrive, what's going to happen. And you need to have different alternatives that they're operating all together in order to be able to deliver service. And it's really important that people understand how technology can actually serve them and help them, because if we don't do, someone else is going to do it better than us. and then we're out of the game.
This is true. This is true. We have to keep progressing all the time and trying to find the new solutions, of course. So since there are no questions at the moment.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kalinka, to interrupt you, but one question arrived in my direct message. Sorry, I don't know. Okay. From Mrs. Kostadina Kavouridou, who is asking, what strategies can the tourism industry use to assist the rebounding of the industry from the COVID-19 crisis?
I think I've been talking about that for a long time, and through Rizzo this last year. I think, first of all, the first thing right now is people are much more focused on safety security. So the more you can make sure that you explain to people that they are safe and secure when they travel to your place or with your services, the more you're winning. And people are willing to pay much more because safety and security is not negotiable. So if you go to many web pages of hotels in Greece right now on destinations, you see that they've not changed at all from 2019. They don't tell you what extra measures do they take in order to make sure that you are protected. They don't tell you here is 6 extra services that we'll offer for you, so we'll minimize your risk. And there are actually business opportunities, because you say, do you want to go with a coach, or do you like us to organize a taxi? And the taxi will be disinfected, the driver is vaccinated, If I've got 2 companies, one is that's giving me all this information, one that doesn't, guess which one I'm going to select? So we need to make sure that we reassure people about safety, security. We also need to develop value systems that everybody in the value system is safe and secure. Okay, because what's happening is that, okay, if I come to a hotel and everything is fine, but when I go out, the bars and the restaurants and the other facilities are not safe and secure, we've got a problem. And we've actually seen that most of the hotels, they were following very, very strict rules because the tour operators had given them, and there were all kind of protocols, and they were controlled. The minute you are stepping out of a hotel, you had a major problem because people were not following what they had to do. So you really, the first one is safety, security. The second thing is start understanding your customer in a different way, because your customer has changed. I'll tell you one of my experience here. When I arrived here, all the customers on the quarantine hotel were on WhatsApp and were networked constantly. We were operating as a customers in parallel to the hotel. We had the customers created intelligent systems themselves that they were supporting each other in parallel to the hotel, which the hotel was not part of this network. It happened that I knew the hotel manager, so I said to her, don't worry, I'll be watching it for the 3 weeks. I'll be here, and if there's anything you need to know, I'll alert you. But the customers become much more knowledgeable than the hotels. And you guys as travel agents have got a major issue because many of you have not moved with the times. So you really need to look into what is the value that you're actually offering. Proactive. And do you provide the right information to the customer before the customer finds out? Quite often in England, where I'm dealing with travel agents, I have got more information than the professionals have. So you really need to reassure consumers that you are the link between them and their travel experience, and you need to create networks. Now, one of the things is that
Mr. Buhalis, sorry to interrupt you, but because we are a little out of time, There is, we will answer one more question, but as fast as you can, from
Okay.
Mrs. Olga Gabaxi, who says, as we're moving to a digitized service experience, how do you think this will impact the different generations?
Well, the new generations are digital natives. The old generations are digital immigrants. So the new generations, they're already there. They know more. You know, it's quite funny in education. They're coming to university and they know more than the professor because they've got more access to all these things and they can find all this information much faster than anybody else. So when you are dealing with digital natives, you really need to be so cutting edge and so so more advanced than themselves in order to be able to add value. And if you're not, you're out immediately. When you're dealing with old generations or those people who are not connected, then you really need to go high tech in connectivity with all those partners that you are collecting data and you're collecting transactions. And then you need to use what media they're using in order to be able to communicate with those people who are not at that high level of connectivity. So it's really a very complicated way of adopting technology and bringing agility into the service and what we do and engage with everybody else at the platforms that they operate. And I've got to tell you, especially with travel agents, that many travel agents in 1994, 95, 96, when the internet arrived up to the 2000, didn't survive. So in England, we had about 40% of the travel agents that they disappeared. And those who remained were those that they adopted technological tools to be able to be faster and more agile and operate with different people. So that is, and that goes to the previous question as well. What do I need to do? I need to be clever, agile, to be able to operate much faster than anybody else and provide value at the right time. And don't look back, look forward.
Thank you very, very much for your presentation. We keep your last sentence as a message that we have to look forward and not back. And thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buhalis, for your presentation. Now I want to welcome again Mr. Romao. As I said before, Mr. Filipe Romao is from Sun Tourism Experiences, and he will present the port of Lisbon.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you, Angelica. And
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Alinka, everyone, Professor Buhalis. It was a pleasure to hear you. It's always great to have your insights. Regarding Portugal, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it?
Of course.
It's
Yes.
okay?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So Portugal is now recovering from COVID, as everyone is now these days. We are betting a lot in safety and also in sustainability. So sustainable tourism is our goal at this time. And we have a strategy for that in the country. And we are heading for it. So regarding the Port of Lisbon, we have mainly 4 big cruise ship ports in Portugal: Porto, Leixões, Portimão, Funchal in Madeira, and Lisbon, of course, the one we are going to speak about today. Lisbon is located in the center of Portugal. I don't know if everyone knows it or been here. I hope so, because you have a different idea when you are, you know the place. Just to give you an idea, Lisbon is like 20 kilometers to Sintra, the port. The port is also 100 kilometers to Fatima. 135 kilometers to Évora, and 20 kilometers to Cascais. Okay, so we are at this edge of Europe, the most western point in Europe, and a lot of cruise ships are now arriving to Lisbon. Let me show you a special video. In 2014, in Lisbon, we were able to receive 3 of the most interesting boats, and you have an idea how it was in those days, the port. We received Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Mary II, and also Queen Victoria. At the same time, so the boats were in the Lisbon port, the old Lisbon port, at the same time. This was the experience, the kind of experience passengers had in the past. They even had a small sandy beach in Lisbon. That's not commonly used, but this is Praça do Comércio and the castle up there. So it's really beautiful, and the cruise ship port is by the city with these wonderful views. So a lot of people saying goodbye to the ships. And this was the kind of experience that we had in 2014. Then, some years later, we had a big investment, and the port of Lisbon was renewed, and it was rebuilt, all built in a new place. And this is the inauguration video. It was amazing. Let me just put it in the start. Okay. This is a beautiful new facility. It was, the architect was Garrido da Graça, world-renowned architect. It's gotten already some prizes. It was inaugurated in 18 September 2017. It has a nuclear building, 1 nuclear building, and 2 satellite support buildings. And in 2018, it received already 75,000 passengers. Okay? The objective for 2020 was around 750,000 passengers. This is the loops of the check-in. It's in walking distance to the metro station, to trains, to bus. So it's really central in the city. Here was the minister inaugurating the whole building. You don't want to see the politicians now, so we skip this part. And now people arriving to board in the cruise from several places. It's really modern, safe. Of course, these days, it was 2017, so no one was worried about masks or social distance or whatever. Just that in today, things are different, things are safer, yes, but also with a great logistics system in place. The space was also designed to host events like father shows or mice events. It has big areas that you can use also for other kind of events that you may want to plan. So this is the main building. And these are the views from one of the viewpoints in Lisbon. As you can see, it's really central and it's beautiful. We have fantastic partners also in the transports with great buses, etc. So it's really amazing. You have to come and see with your own eyes. And that's why it has won the best European cruise port by the World Travel Awards in 2021 and already for 7 years now. But then COVID came and things went to the place everyone knows, and it reopened in the 26th July in 21 last year. Already in 21, we received 96 cruise ships stops, 57 were in transit, 27 in turnaround, and 13 interporting, okay? With a total of 116,000 passengers in half a year. So it seems it's restarting. We are very positive that things are going to the right path. We restart to see some movement. The port has been built for bigger numbers, of course, but these days we have to restart, and the cruise ship companies are also, as we saw in the first presentation, restarting the engines. And then we are very happy to present these kind of numbers in only half a year. The sending countries, the countries that are sending more passengers to Portugal these days, last year, were mainly the United Kingdom and Germany, also Italy, as you can see here, the United States, Portuguese, of course, France, Spain, Switzerland, all short haul, of course, because we cannot people cannot still travel long haul, and so it's normal that we have these numbers. But I believe, and as Professor was saying, we will have a good restart, and we are heading forward and to the future with great positivity. At High Sun, we also help our partners with shore excursions. For example, I can show you another screen that I'm going to share with you. Just finding the right. Okay, can you see the window? Yeah. This is our catalog for tours in cruises. For example, half day Lisbon City cruise tour. That's amazing. Also a half day panoramic Sintra and Estoril coast. A pilgrimage to the shrine of Fatima. Fatima is world known and really big center of pilgrimage. But also for people that are not Catholic. Also in Lisbon, we have a full day tour to Sintra and the Estoril coast, like the Portuguese Riviera. It's amazing. And all the palaces in Sintra, it's magical. a panoramic tour to Calus, Sintra, Estoril coast. Also, a full day panoramic to Lisbon, Sintra, and Estoril, and a guided city tour to Lisbon. Okay. It's, as I said, also wine tours, as here in this case in Mafra, and Jewish heritage tours. Evra, that's a UNESCO heritage site with a lot of history and culture, and also gastronomical walking tours. We have, well, even for the boats that stay overnight, we have fado shows, we have special event shows. We just like to give people the opportunity to see Portugal as a Portuguese, almost. So authenticity is very important for us. Going to change the screen again. So we also offer some pre and post stay programs that you can have a look at this link. I'm not going to bother you with a lot of details on each tour, but from gastronomical to religious to whatever kind of tours that the guests may want to make before or after the cruise. And also we have great and very versatile transportation. And the guides, usually we have a lot of guides for different languages, so that's not a problem. So positivity is here. You can't skip Portugal, and this is dedicated to the people that chose us as the world leading destination. This is a video on Portugal and what you can see here.
Can make all this world seem right.
Nur du kannst die Dunkelheit erstrahlen.
Solo tú puedes emocionarme, traerme ese color.
Remplir mon cœur d'amour que pour toi.
Only you puedes lograr ese cambio en mí.
C'est bien vrai, tu es ma destinée. Derrière tout mal, tu es o meu único destino.
És o meu sonho real, o meu único tu.
Seulement toi.
Can make all this change in me. Es que es verdad.
Du bist mein Bestimmung.
Visit our sea, our sun, our heritage, and our culture. Only you can continue to make us the best destination in the world. Visit Portugal.
So, in a brief, this is what I wanted to show you. I'm at your availability to answer some questions or
Thank you very much
try anything. Yes, you're
for
welcome.
your presentation and for the videos.
I hope you liked it.
It was really
Yes.
beautiful.
Beautiful music combined with beautiful pictures. Really
Yeah.
nice.
So now if someone has a question, please raise your hand or write it on the chat.
Okay, I'm seeing here we have a request from Rosny. Yes,
Ah.
I will send after for sure.
I see a question here from Mr. Nasos Evangelou, who is asking what can you visit in Lisbon when arriving by a cruise ship?
Okay, these are the several short excursions that I spoke about.
Yes.
Usually people visit the downtown. It's one of the main spots because it's really near. The port is in the downtown, so people can just walk or get the metro and make, for example, a food and wine walking tour or tuk-tuk tour to see from the history, because Lisbon has been I don't know if you all know, but Portugal is the oldest fixed borders in Europe. It has already 900 years of history as a country, and it was inhabited by a lot of cultures and a lot of people in the past, from the Paleolithic to the I don't know, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the Arabs. We have a big heritage, and you can see it all in Lisbon. The Jewish heritage, also a lot of churches that you can visit, but mainly what we like to give people is experiences. For example, we can bring you to paint tiles with your own hands and then bring them home with you. The traditional way that we do it in Portugal.
Filipe, if I understood well, the port of Lisbon is very close to the city, so there is also possibility for someone to just walk from the cruise ship and enter the city of the town, or it was just my idea as I saw the Lisbon port. That's
exactly true. The port is right in the downtown, so it's in River Tagus.
And how many docking places are? You told us that there were three cruise ships in a day. So they are all docked, or they are disembarking by tenders? How it is arranged?
Nowadays they have more docking stations, but of course they are not all occupied at these days because we are restarting still. But the capacity is there, so it's very easy to. And it was built from scratch, so the logistic is very smooth. Even if a lot of boats are arriving at the same time, we can still deliver and people don't notice that in the boarding or the exiting of the ship. It's really smooth.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and we help in all that we can. So also Haisan is here to help.
Yeah, of course.
We also have another question from Mrs. Roni Harsenko, who is asking if there are any packages for one trip.
Yes, we do have, of course, Portugal is very well known for the wines. The reds, the greens, the whites, the rosés, the sparkling. You have it all. And from Lisbon, we have tours, pre and post tours dedicated specifically to wines and gastronomy. For example, in Évora tour, Évora is in Alentejo, and the Alentejo wines are very well known. But also, if people want to stay some more days, we can take them to Porto or Douro region, and it's amazing. The Douro wines are just amazing. It's also UNESCO World Heritage. Or for ships that stop in Porto, we have also some trips to Douro. And the port wines, of course. Everyone knows port wine. It's world known, and we have it included in our programs for sure. We even have in special occasions and for special groups or families the possibility to make their own wine, to stamp the grapes, and in September, October, the vineyards, the cropping, you can make even your own wine and stamp it with the feet, and it's really nice. It's really nice.
Okay, thank you again very much for your presentation. It was very pleasure to have you here today.
Perfect. Thank you. I was seeing another question here. If it's possible, the package for two people to 5 people. Yeah, of course. We make it. We also make packages from scratch. So we adapt to every kind of client. We can do it private. So everything is the sky is the limit, as we usually say.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. We have to move on so that we can have time for
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and have a great day. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you very much.
At your disposal. I will send my contacts here in the chat. Okay.
Okay, and still everyone can contact you through Spiti World,
For sure.
the email that
Yes, you have all my
written.
contacts.
Okay.
Spiti.
So let's move now to our next subject, and let's travel to the beautiful region of Andalusia. And for this, we have here with us Mr. Inanc Yamac. Sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. Welcome from Amitours. Welcome to our Spiti, to our home.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me for Kalinka. It's really a pleasure for me about talking about Andalusia. So I want to start. Normally, I want to start directly, but I saw the videos of my colleague from Portugal. You know, we have a competition in between the destinations. So I search another video. I must show a video. Normally, we have videos, perfect videos with Antonio Banderas, because you know Antonio Banderas from Andalusia also. But I choose a short one. So, just a moment. I share my screen. I show a small video, and we will start to speak from about Andalusia. Just a moment.
Just make sure that you share also the sound.
I think yes.
Okay.
Share sound. Yes, yes. I know.
If you don't share the sound, sing for us.
Okay, we start. You have.
Infinita.
Sorry, I shared.
Nuestras playas infinitas están listas. Espacios abiertos y parques naturales preparados. Pueblos cuidados hasta el último detalle. Tenemos cultura, historia, gastronomía y todo lo que necesitas para vivir tu verano intensamente. Solo nos falta un pequeño detalle. Que vengas. Andalucía te está esperando. Ven.
Okay.
It was a good taste, thank you. I just want to tell you that actually it is not a
Carlos
competition.
acaba de llevarse
We all
100 euros
want
de
to
regalo al
travel,
contratar su seguro
so
de coche en Berti.
having
Pero
all you
además al pagar
around,
solo
it's
180 euros.
Okay.
No.
Yes. So we start our presentation if you want. Well, yes, we start talk about Andalusia. You saw the.
Inanc, we are seeing most probably your.
Okay, just a moment. Now, yes, I think.
Google Translate. Now it's okay. We see Andalusia.
Okay, so I want to say. So you saw the our small video. But I said we have betters also. But the most important point, it was a Spanish, I couldn't find an English one. It says most important, we have everything. It's maybe most important point about Andalusia, because really our destination, you know, in Spain last years is very popular tourism destination in all the world. So we nearly reached to France. At before the pandemic period, we had nearly more than 80 million visitors in Spain. So we were very happy. We are waiting to be reached all, but pandemic happened. So our dreams little bit stop, but we start again. And you know, when we talking about Spain, normally most of the people think Barcelona in Catalonia, this area, they are our enemies now. Forget it. It's another like a autonomous area, and also Madrid. It's very people know Madrid, the capital, but Andalusia in the south of Spain, this area in the last years become very popular because it's a tourism destination with they have a lot of varieties. You can find everything, cultural visits, seasides. For example, we look a little bit close. It's a small map about the Andalusian tourism. In all the seaside, we have a very beautiful beach. And for example, Malaga here is one of the most popular seaside in Europe. We have many English and tourists from France, from north of Europe. Many people come and pass their summer in there. Also in Cadiz, in this area, it's important. This part is Mediterranean and this part is ocean. So you can find those different summer alternatives together. Also in the mainland, we have a very rich cultural heritage because this area is one of the most oldest settlement in Mediterranean area. Start with the Romans. Before the Romans, Phoenicians before the Christ 2000 in 800 more or less 800 years before the Christ, they start to settle in Andalusia, and they founded first cities like Malaga. It's coming from Phoenician language. Malaga means salt because they were fishing and put the fish in salt and sell all the Mediterranean world. So it is still very popular with their fish restaurants. After Romans came and before the 8th century Muslim period starts, so you can find it's like a small example of humanity history, starting from the Mediterranean cultures, Romans to Muslims. After the medieval period, famous Catholic kings period, their Reconquista, and today. So we are also our base in Granada. Maybe most of us know Granada with Alhambra. It's one of the most famous monument in the world. Normally, we are an incoming agency in Andalusia, and we make group tours. Most of our work, we are working with the groups, and I want to explain what we are doing in Andalusia. Generally, most of the agencies use Malaga because we have all cities. We have airport in Granada, we have airport in Sevilla, in Cordoba, in Malaga, but these also in Jerez. But the biggest airport in Malaga, because it's also a summer destination, and in all seaside they have many hotels, some summer camps, etc. So the biggest airport in the Andalusia in Malaga. Most of the groups also reach the Malaga in the beginning, and after we have a trip for Andalusia, they are going, normally we go to Granada and stay one night. We offer our clients generally 4 nights, 5 days, a program for 4 nights, 5 days. It passes Granada, Cordoba, Sevilla, Ronda, and return to Malaga. It's the more general Andalusian trip. You can see a example of our programs. It's 4 nights, 5 days. They start Malaga, meeting in airport. After they make a city visit and free time. After they stay in Granada. In Granada, the most important point, Alhambra. They visit Alhambra Palace, and after city and overnight in Granada. Later the third day we pass the Cordoba, visit the Cordoba, but generally we don't sleep in Cordoba. Most of the agencies don't sleep in Cordoba because the hotel alternative is a little bit less than other cities. We continue to Sevilla and sleep in Sevilla. Fourth day we have a full day Sevilla tour, and the last day we return to Malaga for visit. It's a general, very popular program. We always use it. I want to give some information about first Malaga. Malaga is the second biggest city in Andalusia. It's famous with its beach side, because generally we say it's a city with sun, or in Spanish we say Costa del Sol, sunny beach, because we say you can see the sun 30 to 350 days, nearly all year in Malaga. So the sea season start in end of the March until final of the November. For Russians or North Europeans, not for us. We stop in October. But really, it's a nice destination. It's all the coast area has many hotels. The people stay there 1 week, 15 days. Also, most of the ships, cruise ships, stop in Malaga. You can see the. You can't see very well, but there is a port. Malaga port is here for cruise ships. They stop there, and sometimes they stay 1 night or 2 nights for daily visits to Granada or Sevilla. Also, in 2019, it was a very popular destination for cruise ships also in Malaga. But also, how I say before, the airport, because of airport, most of the groups reach first Malaga. The city is also very rich because it's also the city of Picasso. He born in Malaga. Still, we have a museum in Picasso Museum in Malaga. Also, we have some Muslim heritage. It's a Alcazaba. It's a castle there. You can visit. Behind it, there are some Roman remains. It's a little bit a more modern city. Maybe the most modern city in Andalusia is Malaga, but you can still see some historical remains, and you can spend time in their restaurants, especially fish restaurants, and also their other museums. We have a car museum, Picasso Museum, a Roman theater museum, archaeological museum. It's a good destination for that. And later, another very important point. If we talk about Andalusia, we are also in Granada. Inside the Andalusia, we have another competition. Which city is the most beautiful city? I believe that it's Granada, because with Alhambra, most of the tourists coming to Alhambra, coming to Andalusia for see Alhambra. Alhambra built in beginning of the 13th century by the Muslims. Generally, there is a misunderstanding. Also in Spain, people say the Muslim period is Arabic period, but in the reality, I am also Kalinka knows, but most of the don't know. I am an archaeologist, so I am a little bit more interested in the history. In the Muslim period, in the reality, the Arabs are very few in population. So Andalusian culture is very different than Arabic civilizations of the East. It's a different culture because it's a very mixed and more European culture, because it has many connection with the past, with Romans. It's coming from the local people. They built this civilization, this culture, Andalusian culture together, Muslim, Christians, and Jewish people together, and it's the one of the most beautiful construction what they built on Alhambra. How I say it, it's built in the beginning of the 13th century and used nearly 300 years after the Catholic kings conquered the city. They stayed also in this palace, the famous Isabel de Catolica. Maybe you heard her name because she united Spain, she conquered Granada, she sent Christopher Columbus to America, she changed all the history. She stayed there in Alhambra and she died in Granada, and her tomb also in Granada. You can visit her tomb and her husband tombs in Granada, in Real Chapelle. So we stayed generally 2 nights in Granada because Alhambra is also one of the most beautiful palace and maybe the hardest site to visit, because you must the real area you can see here, this only 200 people can visit together. So they divided every half hour. You must buy your tickets many days before, because 2 or 3 days before all the tickets sold generally, and you can't. This year also, I can say you are talking. We are not talking about pandemic a lot, because, for example, this year also many tourists couldn't visit the Alhambra because all the tickets sold. There are many demands, so you must buy before. You must visit with guide, and there are many rules. You can't stay in one place a lot of time. You always you must move like that, and you can maybe, I don't know. I really want to ask this question. If I'm right, it's the only museum you can enter with your passport. If you don't have your passport, you can't visit the Alhambra. There are any more? Anybody knows a museum like that?
I have never heard something like this. Yes, most probably.
But we have. Yes, it's a real. And the system is like that. You buy your ticket with your information about your passport number, etc. And the entrance, they don't ask you your ticket. They ask you your passport, like entrance of the country. They pass the chip. They have this machine, and they look your picture, and you can enter the Alhambra. It's very interesting because when they started these methods, we said it's a very bad idea. It will be very hard to visit, so people don't want to visit. The government didn't listen us, but finally more people want to visit. When it became more harder, demands increased. So really, it's normally every year 3 million people visit Alhambra, and most of the tourists come here, but they couldn't visit there. So we stay in Alhambra because it's very hard to find tickets, and we try to get more time or arrange the entrance. And after that, we generally visit. You can see Al Bayzin, the old Muslim district. Most of the houses there 500, 600 years old, and it's a very nice area. And we have a caves. In that caves, we have Zambra. What's the Zambra? Most of the people can think it's like a flamenco. It's like a flamenco, but the people of Granada don't accept. It's not a flamenco, it's a Zambra. They play inside the caves, and it's very touristic, but also it's very attractive activity. The people, most important, most of the cities, for example, also it's our advantage against the Portugal, and Andalusia. Normally, especially after the March, the city is not sleep. The life is continued 24 hours generally. It's our Spanish type of life, because the people sleep in the afternoon generally. Normally, it's our sleeping time, but I don't sleep. So the people sleep afternoon, and the night generally finish 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So people can enjoy all the night. We say the life here normally. For example, around 7 o'clock, the people start to take a tapas, a small food with a drink. We have many tapas bar. It's a culture and very popular and very cheap. The people, the tourists love it. Most of them want to stay here. They don't want to return their country. So for example, around 9 o'clock, we start to eat our dinners. 11 o'clock, people go to clubs. 1 o'clock, people go to discotheques. 4 o'clock, they go to another clubs. Until 7 o'clock, the life is continue in flamenco, Zambra, like that. So we will continue. The Cordoba. Cordoba is more historical city. It's also a capital in Roman period also. In Roman era, its name's Betica, and Cordoba was the capital of the Betica. It has many history, because when the Caesar fought against the Pompey, he killed his sons near the Cordoba in Linares. Also, after he spent many time in Cordoba, before the Caesar, there are Sartorius wars. Always, it's very Cordoba and Andalusia is very important in Roman history. For example, later the Cordoba, we will see, after the Cordoba, we will see Sevilla. Caesar built the Sevilla against the Cordoba. He wanted to break the power of Cordoba. After the Roman period, in Visigoths period, there are a small, in Visigoth period, in Spain is a little bit poor period, because it's the darkest era in medieval age. The city is collapsed. But after the 8th century, when the Muslims came to Spain, also they choose the Cordoba like a capital, and it became a capital of the Caliphate of Andalusia. 500 years. So there are many remains from the Arabs. But for example, you can see a picture of the cities, city view. This bridge is a Roman bridge. It is 2000 years old. After the bridge, it's a old, there was an old city gate. It collapsed, and in 15th century, in Renaissance, there are some Renaissance sculptures and monuments here. Behind them, you can see the Mezquita Cathedral of Cordoba. It is the unique monument in all the world because normally it is two of them is together, mosque and cathedral. Not very true, but it's built like a mosque. You can see that part is the mosque, and you can see inside. It's the one of the oldest great mosque in Muslim history. It's started built in 8th century, and it continued 250 years to build it. Its shape is the first great mosque in Damascus. And it's very special architecture because it's built with the arcs and columns. It has normally it had 1,100 columns inside, but today we have only 850 columns because in the 16th century they built a cathedral inside the mosque. A Gothic cathedral. It's very special building with that. When you visit the inside, you can see Muslim and Christians remains together their history. Also, the city of Cordoba is a city of the scholars. The most maybe in the medieval age very important scholars lived there, like Ibn Rushd, Averroes, or Jewish scholars Ibn Maimonides, like them. So Cordoba is like a cultural capital of the medieval period in Spain. And after we continue to Sevilla, the real capital of today in this region, Andalusia, we have a Guadalquivir river. It's also, we still use Arabic name, the big river. It's also the biggest city of the region, and it's the fourth biggest city of Spain, Sevilla. There are many things also for visit in Sevilla, like a Plaza España, Torre de Oro, the Golden Tower, their restaurants, bars. It's Giralda. We have the third biggest Gothic cathedral in Sevilla. It's built by donations of Columns. Also, the Christopher Columb tomb inside this cathedral. We have Indian archives, all the columns, and after the columns, the other famous captains' records, their maps. Because also Magellan, he started his journey when he died in Philippines. He started his journey here, right here, really, in near the Golden Tower, and for travel the old world. He couldn't return, but his companions returned to Sevilla. Also, Colomb, after they reached America, first, I must accept, he returned to Porto. After he followed the seaside to Lisbon, but he entered the Guadalquivir and come to Sevilla, and first landed in Sevilla. It has a very nice history, so everybody can find something in Andalusia themselves. For example, American people come here because their history starts here, the discovery of America. The Muslim countries, we have many demands because it's a part of their history, and most of the Muslim historians accept Andalusian period is a golden age of the Muslims, the best period. Also, for medieval age, the Europeans have many connections with Sevilla, and also it's very popular because in the modern culture, for example, most of the many movies they used Andalusia for their production, their skins. You can see Plaza España. I don't know, can you remember, but it was also in the Star Wars, the planet of Naboo. It was here. Or if you see the Assassin's Creed, somebody looking the secrets of, it happened also in Granada. Near the Granada, there are a castle. So many people, or Game of Thrones. For example, the Hardens of, I couldn't remember not. It was Alcazar of Sevilla. So most of the people wants to visit here. But not only these four cities, we have Ronda, very famous Civil War city. If you read the book of Hemingway, Rings of the Bells of, I cannot remember. In Hemingway, he stayed many years in Andalusia, and also in Civil War of Spain, Spanish Civil War, and he stayed in Ronda. Still, some guys show a house and said it's a Hemingway house. It's a lie, but it's very popular. It's not important it's lie or true. Most of the people visit there because you can see some pictures of Hemingway, and it's a nice destination. Also, Orson Welles lived there many years, and it has a, you can see it's a wonderful view. It's built near the cliffs. We have many pueblos blancos, white village, Andalusian village like Mijas, very relaxable, all the white houses, they decorated with the flowers. Gibraltar, it's the end of the world, or before in Roman age or Greek age. Today it's end of the Europe. It's the last southwest point of Europe. The other side is Morocco, and Gibraltar. This area is English side, and this part is Spanish side. It's a wonderful beach side, but also you can visit two countries in there. First, Spanish part, after you can pass the English part. If you are a European citizen, it's easy to pass there. You can visit the Hercules cave. You can see the some bunkers of the Second World War, everything. When you start, when you enter there, you enter to England. So it's a nice point. And Cadiz, it's also a very famous sailors city near the ocean, and we have many demands. You can find also, we have very good wines. We have very good wines in all Spain, but Jerez wines near the Cadiz, it's very famous. We have special horses there, some shows, horse shows, and wineries. Most of the people visit this area because for wines of Jerez and Cadiz. Like I said before, generally most of the people thinking about, when we talking about Andalusia, they are thinking the Muslim period, but not only Muslim, it's also Roman Betica. It has a very rich Roman history. You can see the Colosseum of Italica. Also, in Game of Thrones, the last parts of the Game of Thrones, if you remember, there was it was there. They choose the last king here, for example, in Italica, in Colosseum of Italica. Also, I think the queen with the dragon fighting, fought there with somebody. We have many mosaics. It's not Turkey, it's real Andalusia. It's a Castello. We have mosaics, Roman mosaics, very rich area. Roman theaters. You can see the Osuna. It's very special, like a scheme from Jordan, but it's from Sevilla. Osuna is a Phoenician Roman tomb, Iberic tomb. So it's designed like little bit Roman, little bit Mesopotamian. There are many things. Sepharik Al-Andalus. We have a very important Jewish history in Andalusia. Like Maimonides, it's one of the most important Jewish scholar. Also, we have many Jewish district. We have old. I forget the word. I'm so sorry. We have like their Jewish. They're praying. Synagogue. We have synagogues. You can see a synagogue from Cordoba inside. It's very special synagogue with their old design, decoration, because it's a mixed culture. And you know, it's maybe one of the most sad history Inquisition happened there. The Catholic kings fired all the Muslims and Jewish people. Muslims escaped to Africa, most of them, and Jewish people escaped to Istanbul. So these all history, you can see their face.
Sorry, can I interrupt you for a while?
Yes.
Because there is a question from Mr. Stratis Eleftheriou that he has to leave, and I was thinking that maybe you have the time to answer before he leaves. What about any experiences from your company for shore excursions to Malaga, Almeria, and Sevilla ports? Also, any connection with Seville Football Club?
We have, but I explained that normally.
For the shore excursion.
My agency, my company, we are working for the groups, but for Kalinka knows that we are working with flights. We don't work with cruise ships a lot. I have some friends. We are in federation and tourism federation. They are working more with cruise, and maybe we can help about them. We offer some daily excursions like in Granada, Alhambra. It's easy for us also. When the ships came to Malaga, we offer them a daily Granada tour, Alhambra visits. But normally about the Alhambra visits, there are many problems because like I said before, you must buy tickets many days before with all the passport informations, with passport number, name, complete name, with surname, etc. So there are some real hard problems about the cruise ships, but we are still working about them. Now the cruise started new. We didn't do any, but I heard from my colleagues. They said me some cruise was in Malaga. They organized the visits in Almeria. Generally, we did some daily trips in Cabo de Gata because we have a national park there in Cabo de Gata. It's very nice, and it was also the area of the second movie of Indiana Jones was there in this area. It's nice area, but now we don't do it a lot for cruise. We offer generally for Granada. Alhambra for cruise, but we prefer to sell package tours. So can I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So I only want to show what are you thinking about here? There are no any Turkish colleague. It's they can think, oh, it's like a Cappadocia, but it's not a Cappadocia. It's a Guadix. It's our new discovery. Also, the Spanish government and Andalusian government working about it because it's very similar structures like a Cappadocia. We have a cave houses inside this area. It's a normally village near the Granada, and we last years the Spanish government published a lot. They built national park there. Also, we have a very interesting Civil War museum, because in Spanish Civil War, Republicans used this area like a headquarters in Granada, and many people died there. There were very hard conflicts in this area. We have balloon tours. Now, also we have many balloon tours, not only in Guadix. I saw a picture my colleagues sent me yesterday. In weekend, in Sunday, we had nearly 15 balloons in Granada. Now it's become very popular, balloon tours in Guadix and Granada, and you can see the volleys and the national structures. Is very interesting. Also, we offer many experiences like horse riding, trekking, diving. This, for example, this one from Andalusia near the Granada, we have a very interesting diving point in Granada coast. It's Hereda, in Almuñécar, near the Almuñécar. It's very rich area. And flamenco, sure, the maybe most interesting and attractive cultural things is our flamenco show. We have flamenco schools. We have, for example, today we have two different things in Granada, in Andalusia. One, like us, we sell package tours for more common visits like that, but it's very popular to tailor-made tours also. We tried to build a department for it, but with pandemic it stopped. We offer the special package for people. If you want to learn flamenco, we offer you 10 days experience in Andalusia. In these 10 days, every day or 5 or 6 days, you have a half-day flamenco school. You can learn flamenco, and half-day you can visit the monuments or cities. Or, for example, we prepared a program. It was very interesting. Normally, Americans like it a lot. We have a trip with horse. It takes 15 days, but can you remember the map, which we make a Andalusian trip in 5 days? We do similar trip in 15 days with horse, really horse. The people riding horse. For example, no, we not start in Malaga, but we start in Granada, and in 3 days we can reach the Cordoba. In these 3 days we have a points. We stop some village, rural, because also we have some rural tourism. Village houses. They offer accommodation, breakfast. Also, some of them offer some experiences like looking the sheep or take care of the cows. This kind of experiences, and we reached the Cordoba. So this is very popular also in Andalusia now. I believe that in also, for example, in Kalinka was feature in this year. Maybe she can share her idea, but she saw it. Sure, one pavilion was ours, Andalusia. All the rest of the Spain, with Catalonia, Barcelona, Madrid, Canarian Islands, Balearic Islands, Ibiza, they had all the Spain had 3 pavilions, 2 of them all Spain and 1 of them only Andalusia. It means it's a rising star of Spanish tourism also in Andalusia, because you can find all. We have hotels, very normal hotels, but also we have, For example, some hotels like that, it's another experience. This hotel is an example. It's a 500 years building. It's a like a big farm in medieval age, and now we use like hotel, so you can sleep. Or we have hotels of castles in very interesting alternatives we can offer. So okay, not share, stop the share. I hope I can give a general information about Andalusia. If you have some questions, I like to give more information. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you very much,
presentation.
Mark.
I think you gave us much information. It was really interesting. I don't know if there is any question. Someone wants to make a question?
I want to say, I think I forget to say, maybe Mr. Stratis not here,
Yes.
but Sevilla port, the cruise not, they only small cruises. We have between the Portugal, they start from Lisbon and follow the Guadalquivir River and reach the Sevilla port. But normally Sevilla doesn't near the sea, 80 kilometers far away from sea. Only connection with river, and only this kind of ships can come. And Sevilla Football Club, it's very good alternatives for schools, football schools, or something like that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any question? Someone wants to raise his hand, or I think your presentation was too good, so there are not any questions. I have been myself to Malaga. I really like the city and the chupitos there in the bars.
We are waiting again. So, and I only, I like to say a last thing. Really, this year, from the October, we start a good beginning. Now, for example, in Spain, maybe it will be a good information for you. Our problem in Spain, generally, also in Portugal, I live the same problem. We can't find hotels again. All the hotels have many pre-reservations, and for example, some of them say to us, after the April, May, they are full now, from now. So it's really, it's going well. And that's our good. Government, you can't see, there are very few notice about news about the corona. I don't know in Portugal is it right, same or not, but we have very few notice news in papers everywhere. We try to forget it. So more or less we returned to before the pandemic, and we have many we are waiting a lot, but now we start to work about the problems for disponibility again. We couldn't find the guys. It's a good thing, I believe, that for future. Thank you.
Thank you. Great news.
Yes, here, just to give you a brief, also here in Portugal, it's the same more or less. We are also experiencing some demand. So there are pre-bookings, and but it also depends on the relationship we have with the hotels. So fortunately, we have a good relationship with hotels, and we can also try to arrange the availability, depending, of course, on the kind of group or the kind of family, or depending on the kind of request that we have. But usually, we have been able to still find the good places.
I share my contact also. If you need anything, you have a friend in Granada.
Okay.
So, we can move on, I think.
Any questions?
Thank you very much. Now, let's see what happened in Oracle Group the previous month from Mr. Vaios Pondikas. Hello, Mr. Fotikas.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, all of you, for your participation in our 23rd Spiti World Zoom meeting. The next month, we will close 2 years continuously with our presence each month, updating our partners, our colleagues in all over the world, and watching carefully the evolutions in our industry. Generally speaking, January, it was a month that we are still working and we organize better ourselves in order to welcome the new season. We have been witnesses of the Omicron variant attack the last couple of months. The affection in the society worldwide seems that it is not so dangerous as the Delta, but for sure has an impact in our business. To be honest, somehow we noticed that this impact is limited, and it seems that if there is no other hidden variant, shortly we will overpass its consequences. People in all over the world, despite the high transmission and affection of Omicron, resisting and continue to plan their holidays. Hopefully, we're monitoring all the related evolutions, but it seems that so far the damages are limited. Respecting the way of working, we're continuing to adapt the teleworking as the main work format. Our HR division taking care and scheduling the workflow in a way that there is no need to expose our personnel in any kind of threat related with the pandemic. The directors and managers of our structure trying to support the new model of work, taking into consideration that the productivity and the tasks of our business are these that we need in order to respond to the needs of our clients and the desired results. Sorex network. We continue to work hardly in order to expand our Sorex business in more ports. Already, our main client, Global Cruises, trying to be provider in more cruise lines, and of course, with our cooperation to expand its activities in more destinations. From our side, we are ready to provide our services and respond positively in our clients' needs. New destinations, new opportunities. In the frame of a successful and productive cooperation with Global, a part of the first 19 ports that we already agreed to cooperate, disposing a huge Sorex excursion network, we propose the follow ports as well. Ancona, Bari, Brindisi, Cagliari, Catania, Syracuse, Trapani, Trieste, Genoa, Savona, Malaga, Lisbon, Marmaris, Bodrum, Antalya, Dures, Sarandre, Split, Zadar, Kope, Thessaloniki, Akaba, and last, Valletta. As every year, we attended the Fitur Expo. Our group has been represented by Kalinka, disposing all the necessary contacts and had the opportunity to meet our partners from Europe and abroad, exchanging our experience and knowledge as every year we do. We consider this event as one of the most important because especially for the Spanish-speaking markets, is the most interesting tourist meeting point taking place in Europe. The impression has felt, Kalinka, is that 2022 will be enough strong. Of course, if we would not be facing any kind of bad surprises, especially related with the COVID. God's New Year pie. I don't know if you know this that we do in Greece. In Greece, we have a traditional event that happens in the beginning of New Year, every year, the cutting of King's Pile. We receive the wish of God and the priest blessing the members' employees in a special dedicated ceremony. Before the pandemic, this event was one of the most important for us. In our conference hall, we invited many partners, important persons from the tourism industry, and we enjoyed it with music and nice buffet. The last 2 years, we kept this tradition, but we celebrate each day via Zoom, as the restriction doesn't allow us to do differently. It's a compromise, but we believe that now we are blessed from God. We hope that next year we will enjoy this day as the previous years. Thank you.
So I think this is the end of our meeting. Thank you all for participating in our 23rd Spiti World meeting. We hope to see you next time again. Kalinka?
Thank you very much for being with us. We took more time than usual again, but I hope you liked and enjoyed the presentations of our colleagues who try to bring the destinations closer and learn us, giving us some very important things about the place they know very well and want to promote it to the tourism. Generally, I would like to say that there is no competition in tourism. We have to work as one, and because tourism is generally connecting people, so there are always new experiences and we have to be open to them. Especially for the overseas countries, when they are coming, for sure they will not be visiting only one country. So here in this panel we have Chevy, who is from Barcelona, we have Inanc, who is from Andalusia, and Filipe, who is from Portugal, which can be combined in one tour for the people who are coming from around the world. So no competition, we are working together, we will be strong, and let's keep the tourism will wake up. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you all. Thank you. Have a great day. And let's return to our beloved tourism.
Of course.
Next month, Kalinka, when do you have plan?
On the 2nd of March.
2nd of March. Okay, we'll be
2nd
here.
of March. Thank you very much for reminding us.
Yes, we will be here.
Of course.
See you again.
Okay.
Francis, will you share now the ending video? Thank you. Goodbye to all.